Another great guest this week on the Indulgent Islander, Nick. Very special one this week.
Yeah, this one it's been a hard one to nail down. He is a
The white
busy
whale.
guy. Yes, I'm pumped.
You want to introduce him?
Yes, sir. So it's our great pleasure to introduce to everyone one of the treasured sponsors of the Indulgent Islander podcast. We have Antonio Mancini Albano from AMA Private Dining joining us today on the podcast.
What's up, guys? Good to see you. Good to see you both. Tim,
Good to see you.
Face, man. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely. Appreciate you getting on.
You got it. My pleasure.
So, for those of you who don't know the background, Antonio and I connected quite a few months ago, I would say. Probably, I don't know, maybe late summer, early fall, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
It's probably fair. But summer, definitely, I think it was definitely by summertime. And so he reached out to me just from noticing the social media content, and essentially is building his private dining business, in-home private dining, in addition to some other things that we're going to talk about. So we connected, we met a couple of times and discussed, how we could collaborate on certain things to help each other out, to help each other grow. A couple of the highlights along the way have been the pop-up, the special collaboration with School Pizza, where we had the incredible sweet Italian sausage with the pickled banana peppers, and the AMA Private Dining proprietary spicy ranch, which I thoroughly enjoyed over there at Side Hustle Brewing. Then you were kind enough to get me involved in the Spring Fling, the local serving locals dinner at May River Manor, which was just an incredible experience with a number of local purveyors that we will mention in the next few minutes. And then most recently, we have the Panzanella drop coming up this weekend, the weekend before Easter, which you'll tell us more about that stuff. So it's been a lot of fun, so far. And we wanted to have you on just to talk about these couple of things that we've been doing and what you have planned this weekend with the Panzerottis, and we'll take it from there.
Thanks, guys. You said Panzanella. I just laughed because
so Did far, I say Panzanella?
Not one person has pronounced it right, but that's my fault for not getting on that.
Did I say Panzanella?
You said Panzanella, then you said Panzerotti.
Panzerotti,
yeah. Everything.
I've heard everything. Panzerotti to Panzotti. So the pronunciation's Panzerotti. But I can't expect everybody to have
I can't roll the R that way. Sorry.
I'm kind of having fun with it and just taking them as they come and letting everybody call it what they will. But yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, guys. Nick was, I think, one of the first connections I made when I moved down here, which was last June. And I found Nick and I reached out to him because, like I had mentioned, or as he mentioned in a previous episode, I didn't really see anybody else who was covering the food scene in Bluffton specifically and on the island. And walking myself right into it, I thought that was awesome. And, I'd love to see him just shining a light on everybody that was in the restaurant and in the food world here. So I reached out. We hung out a couple times. We hit it off. And here we are. So been a wild ride on my end as well. Made a lot of connections, built a lot of relationships. I was a little worried moving the business from the New York area, which, it's New York. You don't have to say that much else about it. I've had Long Island. I had Jersey. I was in the Poconos every so often as well. I was going down to Philly, Princeton, Hamptons, Manhattan, upstate New York, where I went to culinary school and have a ton of connections still as well. But I was the last member of my family remaining up there. And for every other reason that everyone wants to get out of the Northeast, I had to just pack up and move. So I was nervous about bringing the business down here, but I've been very pleasantly surprised to find out lots of people are into having private dinner parties. You know, I'm in Savannah, I'm on the island, I'm in Beaufort. Uh, Lots of stuff going on here in Bluffton. And so, yeah, Bluffton is just, up and coming right now. Everyone's moving here. People are trying to start stuff. So it's been pretty easy to make good connections and to get this thing off the ground. And yeah, it just caught fire, and I'm just riding the wave. It's been fun.
What made you say Bluffton is the spot for you?
Family, but family was 90% of it. Uh, so I had a little battle with my wife because I really love the island, and she actually loved Beaufort, and I love Beaufort too. But
It's tough. It's
it's tough,
tough.
man. I
They
mean,
all
leaving
all
like
three spots have their appeal, right?
Savannah's good too.
Yeah.
Like, she actually works at SCAD, so that could have made sense. But I think we were trying to escape the city, urban life, and Savannah was a little too close to that. Um, the island was just a little so I would say ultimately what I love about Bluffton is its centrality. And so I love the fact that we're in touching distance to all three of those other locations. And especially for my business, that works out because we've got Savannah 20 minutes south, we've got the island 25 minutes to the east, and then Beaufort 25 minutes north. So I think that's what I love about Bluffton, is that just central to everything. Family was a big choice. And then just the vibe here, you can just sense that something special is happening. A lot of people, there's so much building going on. Everything's new, everything's different and fresh and fun and exciting. And we kind of wanted to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
We've been talking a lot about how the restaurant scene has been growing,
Yeah.
and it's a category that a lot of people might not think about is, in-home chefs and meal prep and things like that. I mean, I know you and I have talked about this quite a bit. I don't think that you ever could have anticipated how quickly things were going to get. And what I love is that you're not shy about, like, you spent an entire weekend over in Savannah during St. Patrick's Day weekend. Like, you're not, and I agree with that. That's how I used to like when I was in the metro area, living in North Jersey. I could get to New York City, I could get to PA, I could get to New York State, all equidistant from each other. And even my office at my old company, same type of thing. I could get anywhere I needed to within a half
Yep.
hour, 45 minutes. So you're aggressive in terms of your scheduling. We joked about it at the top about how, maxed out you are in terms of, you and I try to get together and it's like, I have this day and this day and, like, jammed up. But you also is because you make time for your family and those things that are priorities as well. But could you ever have imagined that you would be literally like 0 to 60 in, such a short period of time?
No, I couldn't have. I think I
Maybe
have
60 is an understatement.
yeah, I have the Don Ryan Center to credit for a lot of that. I just did an interview about how much they've helped me, and having them as a resource has been phenomenal. And the connections I've made. So Jen Harsta of Hardy Greens, one of my best friends and partners in the area, and Cassandra Schultz of Cassandra's Kitchen, Nick, both you guys now. So, and then already having known people, my aunt is a hot shot in the catering world. She used to run the show for Signature Catering at Surge, and so she kind of helped me get this off the ground as well. And so, business is it takes a network, right? And I'm really blessed and lucky to have landed on just a phenomenal network of people that I really appreciate even outside of business. And so I think that's just helped me get things moving quicker than it would have taken otherwise.
What are you most excited for coming up in the near future?
The panzerotti for sure, because it's something that I think no one or very few Tim, I heard in the last episode that you've been out to Italy, so you've had a couple, and I'm sure there's another handful of folks who've tried them, but I'm most excited for that. So this first drop was very limited and special and small. So, they're going to get out to, I'll say there's maybe like 30 people on that pre-order list. So I'm just most excited to share that something so deeply personal with some locals down here, and something that's so drastically different to anything else that's out there, and just genuinely curious to see the reaction there. And yeah, that's the cool part about my business and not running a restaurant, which we can get into, as a sidebar, but I get to do whatever I want and really have fun with this. So throwing a little pop-up and trying to fund street food from Southern Italy that's
And
dear to my family is
control your overhead. That's I mean, and be able to
yeah.
do all these cool things at the same time. That's pretty special.
Yeah, it's fun. I did the restaurant thing for as long as I could. You know the story if you've been following me. I worked in fine dining in Manhattan. My first apprenticeship was with April Bloomfield at the Spotted Pig. So she was a real big name. That was one of the longest standing Michelin stars in New York City for almost like, I think, 18 years before they closed down. And so I worked for free for her for a little over a year. And then from there, I went to the Nomad Hotel, which was the sister restaurant of 11 Madison Park in Daniel Home. And so, yeah, that grind was 6 days a week. You're going in at 10:30 in the morning. You're getting out at 1 o'clock in the morning. So you literally have time to come home, sharpen your knives, take a shower, pass out for 6 hours, and do it all over again. That was my life. So I did that for about as long as I really could.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Not in the restaurant world, but just try working that New York City grind, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, just mine was in the magazine and the newspaper, and
Yeah.
working for the Yankees, but it was 100
Yankee?
hour work weeks. Yeah, I worked for the Yankees from 96 to 98. So
Nice.
I was the publications director.
Go
And I got a
Yankees.
World Series ring out of it, but I mean, the 100 hour work weeks and it's yeah, I needed the off ramp. I needed more of a work life balance. So I
Right.
feel you, man.
Yeah. You got a World Series ring? That's pretty awesome.
My father-in-law has it at the
That's on
moment,
the shirt.
but yeah.
I only got a photograph with me holding the Eastern Conference championship trophy from my Nets run. So Tim's got me beat there. Listen, we know we got to get you out of here, but before we do, I just want to kind of wrap it up and bring it full circle with this. So one of the things that immediately endeared me to you was your openness, your willing to, I mean, you were very complimentary, and that's been a very big inspiration for me, which I'm sure you're well aware of, over the last several months specifically, with the encouragement and the support and the advice that you've given me. But what is truly inspirational, and I think a lot of people can learn from this, your background speaks for itself with everything that you've done with Michelin star restaurants and working in that type of business. And now you're bringing this to in a completely different way, with a completely different concept, and you're killing it, and have become very well known brand very quickly. But like the business that I'm in, my main job as a mortgage loan originator, like Tim with all the media that he does specifically in Bluffton, there's no one that does what he does in this town or this area, in my opinion, on the level that he does it. The reason why I say this is because these are all relationship businesses, and that's how
Yeah.
you've approached it. You've approached it by building relationships, not just with the purveyors and the vendors and so on and so forth, but with other people like myself, content creators, and willing to collaborate with a food truck. Like, how many high-end chefs are going to say, I want to collaborate with the Detroit style pizza truck? And that's not a knock. Obviously, school pizza's a revelation around here. but the
Mhm.
willingness to think outside the box, to collaborate with them, the May River Manor stuff, the connections that you have with Hardy Greens and Cassandra's Kitchen, and all the great things that are going to be coming up on the horizon. That has been an inspiration to me. And
Oh,
so I guess if you want to leave us with this, bearing that in mind, you know, how excited are you about what the future holds? Because I think, like you said about Bluffton, you're really just scratching the surface, and this is just the beginning.
yeah, very excited. I couldn't be more excited, really. The core of my business is, and everything that I'm doing is built around community, which is also part of the fun of it, because everyone else who's kind of jumping in and partnering up with me is helping to shape the direction that it goes. And sometimes I feel like I'm just kind of along for the ride. And sometimes I don't even know where we're headed. But yeah, that's part of the fun of it. It helps me to be creative and to really focus on people first, and to just build it on good relationships. Um, there's so much more to come. This is like you said, I barely scratched the surface. So as much as this is pretty freeform and taking its own shape, there are a lot of plans in the pipeline for some things that are soon to launch. Hopefully, I'll be back on here soon to announce some of those things.
For
Uh,
sure.
Pretty soon, actually, we're going to have some very exciting to announce. But for now, we're just kind of looking forward to the Panzerotti. I have a event that's live on Instagram coming up with good friend Cassandra of Cassandra's Kitchen. We're going to talk about how to throw the perfect barbecue on
Oh,
April.
nice.
Yep, 28th. Be able to tune in on that.
April
And
28th?
yes,
Nice. Okay.
yep, end of the month. You'll see lots of posts about it. We're also have a collab coming that I'm real excited about with Marchand Mill, which is one of my favorite purveyors. I haven't done anything with them yet. They make all the heirloom like grains and Carolina gold rice, and so yeah, that they're the mill that's really out in the forefront of that, of all the low country grains and grits and things. And yeah, other than that, we are just keeping the private dining thing going. We're booked up for a while, so it's kind of hard to get in for that. But as sort of a plan B, there's catering drop offs that are still available for the foreseeable few months. And excitingly, we are opening the door for one more family to jump onto the meal prep program. We have a couple families right now working with in Bluffton, Palmetto Bluff, and some of the other communities. So yeah, we've been lucky enough to scale up, get help, get some larger commercial space. So we'll have the capacity to take on one more family for meal prep as well. Open for classes. Full scope of services can find it on my website.
That's so cool. I mean, you talk about scratching the surface. I think you've put a pretty deep gash in the surface at this point. I mean, in terms of just the like Nick said, what you've done. When I talk about, I do a lot of small business marketing consulting, and when I tell people specifically with this market in general, but specifically with this market, you have to ingrain yourself in the community, and it has to be genuine. It has to be authentic.
Right.
And I have seen nobody better in the last couple years than what you've done, and the way that the way that you have picked the relationships from Don Ryan right on through everyone that you've mentioned, Nick's mentioned. It's
Thank you
really been impressive to see, and I am so
so much.
thankful, and we both are, that you jumped on as a sponsor, because we were just talking about this yesterday. Like, it's one thing to have sponsors, but it's another thing to have partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the only way that we're authentic with it, in terms of just, versus just money grabs and taking everybody's money to promote anything. The only
Yeah.
way we're authentic with it is if we believe in the sponsors and the partners that we have on. And so, like, you coming on right out of the gate, just totally sets the tone for that. So I can't thank you enough. Did you get in on the order, Nick?
I sure did. Yeah.
All
So
right, I
I'm
got
going
to
to be,
come
I
to
think
your
I'm
house,
getting a
dude,
little,
because I was gonna, I
I knew
saw
it was
I
me.
saw the April 10th deadline, and then I just went on to grab some stuff for the interview, and I saw it sold out, sold out. I'm like, no. All right, I'll go to Nick's
I think
though.
we can. I
Tim.
think we can rectify that, Tim. Don't worry. We'll talk
Yes.
about that offline. I just want to wrap it up just by saying the thing that really I loved about what Antonio said is, like I said, he's booked out for months. He's got all these great events coming up, but at the same time, he expressed what I think a lot about with my endeavor, which is I don't know what direction it's like. There's and that's the fun of it is of the entrepreneurial spirit of the passion that Tim frequently talks about. Even as much as you have planned and booked out, you're still like you have that hopefulness and that excitement because it's just like every time you and I sit down and have a conversation, we have a couple of ideas that splinter off of that just from brainstorming. And I love that sort of dynamic aspect of it where even though you have your next several months laid out, you're still ready and amped up for the wild cards that are going to come along the way that's going to point you in directions that you never could have imagined. That's what excites me about you and your business.
You got to plan forward, but you can't plan too far ahead and too much because things are
Right.
always going to take
Got to be agile.
turns,
That's
right?
it. Nimble.
Got to be nimble. Got to be quick.
Antonio, huge thank you for joining us. It's
Thanks, guys.
Instagram. It's AMA Private Dining.
Yes.
AMAPrivateDining.com. We'll put up actually, I'll put it up right now while we have you. We'll put up, the ad. Book Antonio now at AMAPrivateDining.com. Top rated personal chef services serving Beaufort County, Savannah, Charleston, and the surrounding area. Antonio Mancini, Albano Private Chef Services. There you go, sir.
So just want to throw out there private dinners, really no availability until July, August, but soon we're going to open the doors and we're going to make an announcement in the coming weeks for late summer, early fall
Okay.
bookings. But other than that, like I said, catering, we have availability in the next few months. So, hopefully the best catering that you've had, something different than traditional caterers out there, and then cooking classes, opening up the doors for meal prep as well, and lots of other fun stuff in the works.
Yeah, we're going to tie you down, whether you like it or not. We're going to carve out a couple of minutes over the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll even have a little short segment that we'll sprinkle in, weekly or every couple of weeks to update everybody on the stuff that you have coming out. Like you said, the stuff that you couldn't talk about yet, but you're going to be ready to have soon. Even if we just do a quick 5-minute hit so that you can share with our audience the events and things that you have coming up that you want them to be in the loop on.
And we want to get
Yes.
in the kitchen with you too. Nick and I have been
Let's do
talking
it.
a lot about that too, where we can do a in the kitchen segment. Just you showing off some of your favorite tips and not
Maybe
trade
we'll,
secrets, but yeah,
maybe we'll make
Tim just
some
dropped a little season 2 Easter egg.
We'll make
Sorry, go ahead.
some live panzerotti,
yeah.
and
Ooh.
you can come to my kitchen and we'll maybe make one and taste them live. How about that?
Excellent. Wow. The monkeys have
Yes.
the peanut butter. Excellent.
Sounds like a plan.
All
All right,
right.
let's get you out of here, bud.
You gave us more time. Apologize for the tech difficulties out of the gate, but you're a trooper and really again hugely appreciate you.
Appreciate you both. Thanks again for having me, boys.
Hit me back when you want to reschedule our get together. I'm around all week, so whenever you want to do it.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, bro.
We'll get this panzerotti in hand. Don't worry.
Nice.
All right, cool.
All right, I'm gonna drop.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Antonio.
Peace.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Antonio Mancini Albano in the flesh, Nick.
Yes. We have to be patient with Antonio as much as he wants to support the podcast and wants to contribute. I mean, I haven't seen it with my eyes, but just from the things that I've heard about what kind of schedule he keeps, I mean, he literally has to by the 5, 10, 15-minute increment budget out his day. And, factored into that is, Tim, you're a parent with all your coaching and sports and everything like that. The school drop off in the morning, the school pickup, carving out time to plan like you and I do for the podcast, like you do for your other media endeavors, like I do for my mortgage business. And it's just, well, that's what's impressive about it. And you can bring in people that can assist you with certain things. But at the end of the day, when you're a chef and it's your work, you're not just budgeting for I mean, part of his week is, I got to go to the farmer's market on Thursday and see what I'm working with this week.
Yeah.
Or I might just go there for inspiration, just like we all do at the grocery store or the farmer's market. What are we going to cook? But he's doing it on an exponential level, because, he's not doing, hundreds of things, but like hundreds of guests, but like, small to mid-sized to large parties. It's a tremendous amount of work, and balancing that with family obligations. And when you have several arms of your business, like not just the in-home events,
Yeah.
but the catering and the pop-ups and the meal prep. I
Meal
mean,
prep. Yeah.
it's really impressive the way that he's able to balance all this stuff. And again, I know I keep beating the drum on this, but just the fact that he's come into a new area like this, yes, for family reasons, but like you said, approach it the right way with the right people, and has ramped up his business in such a short period of time. It's incredible. It's a testament to him.
You introduced me to him, but the more that I got to know what he was doing and saw everything he was doing and the way he was doing it and who he was doing it with, like I said, I mean, it's really, I can see why the Don Ryan Center would want to work with him, that would hold him up as a example client, because that is the way that you come into the area. That is the way that you endear yourself to the community, and you take away that stigma immediately of Yankee coming to the South. Like, he has completely ingrained himself into the community with zero, like you said, with zero ego, just an undying work ethic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said during the interview, to have a relationship like that, like how lucky are we to have someone that's not only a sponsor of the program, but like you said, a true partnership. Like, it's not just, I want to get my advertisement in for my business, and like, he doesn't need us to book events and so on and so forth. But he believes in what we're doing, and he wants to collaborate with all these other businesses and all these other proprietors and owners and things like that. And it's driven by, being a part of that community, and on a micro level here, being a part of this family that we're creating here on the podcast, with people like Antonio and Anthony, who's, again, as equally as passionate about this endeavor. And of course, Scott, who, when we sat down to have this conversation,
Yeah.
I mean, just the way that his face lit up because of how he blend. I'm not trying to, to stroke us here. It's not a self-promotion thing. It's just, I feel privileged to have the opportunity to partner with people like this that want to be part of something, and really believe that the sky is the limit for what the future holds for this whole scene here.
To see what you wanted to do with this and what I thought I could bring to the table with it, to see that and hit with the audience, but also hit with the community that you are so passionate and I am so passionate about advocating for. To see it hit, that is, it's really, it's humbling, it's rewarding, and it makes this not work, honestly. Like, this is fun.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. This couple of hours every week, that I know some have been longer than others, but this appointment every week is the highlight of my week, and it's bringing an energy into my life, a positive, encouraging energy, and to be able to direct that towards these small businesses, the restaurant owners, the private chefs, the food trucks, the tap room owners, is just like I said, it's an honor and a privilege, and that's what gets me the most, you know, excited. Is we're literally 12 episodes into this, into our first season of what will hopefully be many, and to have that feeling now with all of the things that are ahead of us and all of the things that we've talked about amongst ourselves and with partners like Antonio and Anthony and Scott. And I'm sure we're going to be adding more partners. I've been having conversations on a regular basis about other people that want to be a part of it. We are building a true community within our wonderful community. And I would not have been able to get there or to get on that path without you. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for Antonio, and a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pike. I can't wait.
Can't wait. Can't wait. All right, on to the next topic here.